I work with houseplants for a living. This is a monstera, and I'm going to tell you all the cool stuff I know about it. When they grow from seed, they actually start without any splits in their leaves. But once you give them a lot of sunlight, they'll start putting out leaves with splits, and then more splits. So how to get them full of splits like you've seen on Instagram, I'll tell you at the end. Believe it or not, a monstera is a trailing plant like your pothos. Here's a story time. In the wild, the monstera grows along the forest floor looking for something to climb up. And then it finds a tree, and it uses these aerial roots to wrap itself around and climb up a tree. These things grow huge. I mean, like, seriously huge. They even produce fruit in the wild. Okay, here's how to get the good split leaves. More light. The more light you give them, the more they'll split. The splits actually have a function, so the sunlight can go through the plant and reach the bottom leaves. I work with
So you want to have houseplants, but you keep killing them. Let's start with some basics. Always get a pot with a hole. I don't care how fucking cute that pot is, Stephanie. It's important for drainage. You also recommend terracotta for everything. With the teacot hole combo, you'll never get root rot again. Teacot hole. Teacot again for the win, because you'll learn the weight. You'll be like, oh, that's a packed pot. Teacot hole. Or you'll be like, oh, you need to water that. Teacot hole. We'll leave it there for today. Maybe this is like tips 1 of 8,000. I don't fucking know. But holes are a must. Of course, there are ways to do it without a hole, but it's just not worth the grief it'll cost.
If you have a lot of houseplants, you know little bugs get everywhere. I bought these houseplant stickies off Amazon. It's only been 15 minutes and
Cheap plant parenting with DIY plant fertilizers. Peel a banana, cover with water, and soak it in a jar for a few days. Then use that brown liquid to water your plants. Crush an eggshell, soak it in some white distilled vinegar for a few hours, and then dilute it in water. Place really small amounts of used coffee grounds in your plants or rerun them through water.
Make some
plants are trying to tell you. Poor drainage. Too much or too little water. Too much light, low humidity. Too little light, small roots.
I work with houseplants for a living. I know you've been buying all the plants in quarantine. Let me show you 3 ways you can arrange them in a corner of your house. Option 1, one big, bad, beautiful, tall statement plant. Make sure you give it its best side. Here I am evaluating its best side. Option 2, you're going to take a medium-sized plant, but then we want to add some height variety. So I added a plant stand, and I like this little trio. Option 3 is going to be for someone who doesn't have any tall plants, but you're going to take the tallest plant you own, put it up on a plant stand, and then create a jungle-like effect at the bottom with different colors and textures.
This right here is my swag. Swag. All the girls are on me. Yeah. Everybody pay attention. Soldier. This right here is my pretty boy swag.
Things I wish I knew before getting houseplants. Water can kill plants. Check the soil instead of a schedule. Quarantine and acclimate new plants.
I was a bad plant mom. The pot I had my bird of paradise in had good drainage, but I put it inside a decorative pot, and that pot didn't have any drainage, and I overwatered the plant and it couldn't actually drain out, so it was sitting in old stale water and starting to get root rot. So here's what I did. I washed the roots and leaves off with water. I soaked the plant in a pot of water with a 10:1 hydrogen peroxide mixture for 2 hours. I then hosed the plant off again and put it back in water to sit overnight so I can repot it tomorrow now that the roots are clean and hydrated.
I work with plants for a living, and I'm here to tell you you have the magical powers to know when any type of plant needs to be watered. Get ready, here's your magical power. Your finger. Stick your finger about this deep in any plant. If you take it out and you see dirt on it, don't water. Don't do it. Overwatering kills plants. Now if you stick your finger in and it looks more like this, it's time. If you get your plant completely bone dry like this, it might get sad, but when you water this, it'll bounce back. If you overwater it, it will not come back. Say it with me. Underwatering is better than overwatering. Underwatering is better than overwatering. Next time I'll talk about how sometimes the watering frequency changes.
Your plants are trying to tell you. Part 2. Thirsty root bound. Stretching for light needs extra support.
Jade is a succulent that is typically grown as a houseplant indoors. It is fairly easy to grow and a great plant for a beginner. I was able to turn my 1 jade plant into 81 jade plants.
Tampon hack for overwatered plant. The tampon's gonna help draw moisture out of the soil.
Well, hey boss. Do you have a tampon?
Two cups of water for each plant. Sip, sip. Wet. Wet.
Can you do it?
Insert here. Oh,
Okay, we're gonna give it a bit of time to absorb some of that water and see what happens, so come back for updates.
Tampon hack for overwatered.
How to top water your houseplants. First, in the sink using warm water, you want to fully soak the plant. Once you start to see water draining out the bottom, keep soaking it for about another 20 seconds. Let it drain, then do this one more time. And then you're done.
Houseplants for a living. And I'm gonna tell you the very first plant you should buy if you're a new plant parent. Drum roll, please. It's got a super easy name. It's the snake plant. You can get them in lots of different sizes. You don't need to mist them. You hardly ever have to water them. In fact, it's better to neglect them. Here's the coolest part. They have babies. You can gently pop these babies off. Soon you'll have snake plants all over the place.